Hunyuan3D 3.1 was just released and you can create with it better 3D AR models than ever before. With the new update, you now have the possibility to load up to 8 different multiviews to generate your 3D models as precisely as possible. I will exactly show you how to get the best results with the new update, how you can generate up to 8 consistent angles with the new MultiAngle Lora in ComfyUI, why you should start using Hunyuan3D 3.1 instead of 3.0, and much more. Having said that, let's dive right into it. Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Philipp from Pixel Artistry, and today we are going to have a quick but detailed look at the new Hunyuan3D 3.1 update. And I gotta be honest with you, first when I saw this update I was like curious of course, but I didn't expect much from this. But it turns out that Hunyuan3D still improved a lot of things, and it's definitely worth to check out the new update. Because this new update, and you will see this here on the page, by the way I'm here on 3d.hunyuan.10. This is right now still the Chinese website because it's not released on the global version yet, but I will put you a direct link down below that you can check it out yourself. That we have more refined geometry, we also have more accurate textures and colors now, and the big feature that is new now, and maybe you have heard it already in the intro, is that it supports now up to 8 reference views, which is actually very interesting to see if that is really working out, because it's now quite a lot. But I will show you also step by step how we can then generate this 8 views detailed and that you have each view consistent, and to be frank, it works quite well. So just to show you quickly as a preview, you can see over here that when we go to multiple images, you can then upload a bunch of images over here. And you can also see here detailed comparisons with the turntables between the 3.0 and the 3.1 version to see actually what changed. And now I wanted to show you quickly how you can generate actually models with the new 3.1 update. As I mentioned, go to this website here, set it then to English if it's not, by going here, right click and translate to English in the Chrome browser. And what you can do then is that you might see it here already, that we can select our model and then just make sure to use here the 3.1 version. Make then sure for the best settings to use the 1.5 million face count, and as another thing, choose here geometry and texture. And then of course make sure to upload our image. I will do that quickly with the first image that I generated, which is this one here. And once this is uploaded, as you can see, I chose here a woman with a solid background, and she is already standing in a T-pose, which is great then later on if we would like to animate her, for example. So what I'm going to do is then just saying here generate immediately, and then it will start the whole process for us. And once generated, you can see this is the result we get, and you instantly see the textures improved a lot, and you can also see here a comparison side by side with the 3.0 version and the 3.1. And I have to say I really like the improvements they did on the texture itself. It looks even better now on the small details we have, and also when we look at her shape, when I'm going to this, we can see that all the wrinkles and so on are covered in here, and overall the result looks very clean. Here in the back it's hallucinated a bit, as you can see here. So I would suggest then to use the multiview feature, which I will show you in a second. However, I think this is a really impressive result and really cool to see how they move forward. This is the albedo texture, which can be still improved. I think here I like, for example, Trellis 2 albedo texture much more. But apart from that, like also when we look at the normal, for example, this looks great. So I really hope that Hunyuan is keep working on the albedo stuff and so on, that we don't have like those harsh shadows that we have over here, where I can recommend to upload this model then to Trellis 2, for example, and then retexture it to have more delit and better textures overall. Apart from that, I think it did the hands quite well here. We still have some fusing over here, so this can be also fixed with the multiview. But for a single view result, I think this is really great overall. You could also, for example, now directly export it over here when you would like to have it in Hunyuan3D Studio, for example, where the Hunyuan3D 3.1 model is not released yet. You could directly directly export it here as an FBX file, then go to download. And after you downloaded the model and have Hunyuan3D Studio open, you could then, for example, go here and upload your model then when you are, for example, in component splitting, and then you could upload your model over here by choosing local model and then selecting your downloaded model over here, and then it will start uploading the mesh for you. And then you could start to separate the parts and so on with the new additional detail that we get from 3.1. I also generated as a test a different model, this time it's a bear, and I think it looked pretty cool as an input image. And once I generated it, I generated 3 versions, one time with the 3.0 version, the 3.1 version, and with the multiview version in 3.1. And here you can also see the detailed comparisons. When we go to the shape, for example, we can see that we have kind of big improvements between 3.0 and 3.1 still, that we have, for example, more defined shapes overall, also some small wrinkles that we can't see here because here it's a bit more smoother. And I think overall proportion wise it also works quite well. And we also have here, for example, then details around the fingers and so on, which is great. And you can see that we even achieve more detail with the multi-view feature. And I think this is also compared from the 3.1 single view and the multi-view, this is also a big improvement overall. Just when we look at this face structure, for example, this looks really great. So I'm going to show you exactly now a great way how we can do that. Because a few days ago, this Lora here was released, which is the Qwen Image Edit 3D camera control for 2.5.11. And this is really interesting to see. And I will show you this way here on the Hugging Face demo how to use it, but also afterwards in ComfyUI. But this is still a great way to test it out. So what I can do is that I will upload my model, which is in this case, this one here from our bear. And once we uploaded it here, we can see that we can here control our camera view, which is amazing to create now actually multi-views with much more control than ever before, because we don't have to type in a prompt or something, because we have now an actual 3D viewport here kind of where we can control then our image gen, which is really amazing. So what I can recommend is, because you can see over here, when I would go to the multi-view section and then click on it, we see that we need different images in 45 degrees angles. So it's always like rotating around and then 45 degrees, as well that we have a top image now that we can upload and a bottom image over here for the bottom view. And for this one, what I would do then, or what I went ahead with, which worked great, is that I'm setting it here for 45 degrees. Make then sure that you choose the vertical angle, because you could even change the angle here, that the camera is in a low or high angle, but I will keep this at 0 because we don't really need this. So I will reset this. By the way, with the Hugging Face one, you will just have limited quota. So make sure to also check out the ComfyUI way. I will show you in a second to set it up, because with this one you can then generate unlimited views on your own PC. And this is then how the result looks like. And it's important to note that we need 4 steps here overall, because otherwise it won't work, because this one here is using the Lightning 4-step Lora, so it only works with that. But in case you would like to have even more quality, what you could do, for example, when you don't want to install ComfyUI for it, you could also go to fal.ai, for example, and then here to the Qwen Image Edit multiple angles. Of course, everything will be linked down below as always, because here we could then also upload our file by just drag and dropping in it. And you will see that we have here a number of inference steps, and this one we can push up to 50, and then we get a way better result, which is more consistent. And once generated, as you can see, we then get a way cleaner result, and which is really consistent with the one we put in here. And this is amazing because we can then really specify here our exact angle that we would like to have, and then just spin around the model to get a really consistent result. So this is definitely great. Just make sure, as I mentioned, to go here with 45, 90 and so on to spin around the model one time. And for example, to create the top view then that we saw over here, we can also do this by just changing the elevation, the vertical angle of it, and then we're choosing something like this to 90 degrees, that it's then spinning up. And as you can see, we can then see our bear from the top view, and this is then also great to use this as an input for our generation later on. Great thing is that we also already have a ComfyUI repo by Terry Jaya, which is great. And this one we can also use, and it's very easy to install. So usually what I'm doing to install it is just that I'm copying here the link over here, because then you don't have to mess with the ComfyUI manager, which became quite a pain because we have to change the security level then most of the time. So this is way easier then. So I'm just copying this one. Then I will go to my ComfyUI version. Then I'm going to ComfyUI custom nodes. And what I can do then is that I would go in here, type in cmd, then I'm going to type in git clone, and then I'm pasting in my result over here, the link, and make sure just that you have git installed. It's just a very small application you can find with a Google search, and just make sure to install it and then just execute it, and then it will clone the custom node pack into your custom nodes, and you will see it then over here that you have then all the files selected. Then just make sure to restart your ComfyUI, and then I will show you really quick how to generate the multiviews then directly in ComfyUI. Okay, once you launch ComfyUI, make sure then to open my workflow, just drag and drop it. You will also find it down below in the video description. And this one will then actually use the new multi-angle camera node. We can then, for example, upload our image over here, and then just make sure that you can then change here the angle. You adjust the sliders over here, change the height here as well as the zoom distance if you would like to. And what you need to do then is very important. I'm using here the GGUF version because this is based on Qwen Image edit. It takes a lot of VRAM and has huge models, so I'm using here the GGUF version because it's way faster. In this case, I'm using here the Q6. I will also link you this one because this one will basically decide on how much VRAM you can run it. And you can download the GGUF models from here, so I will basically link you this down below. The lower you go, the less quality you have, but you can run it then with also a little VRAM. And I chose here this model, but you can also choose the previous ones and then play around with it and see what fits your graphic card. I will link you in a box here, like all links you need for the download and in which folder you have to put it. And once you have that, it's just important that you also download the MultiAngle Lora that I will also link you, because this is the Lora we actually need, that the whole thing is working. And once you set then here your angle, for example, then 90 degrees or something, we can then go to our case sampler because this will decide the quality. And since we are using here the 4-step Lora, we only need 4 steps over here. This will speed up the workflow, but it can compromise also the quality overall. So in case you notice that the quality is not that good, then it's better to disable it with Ctrl+N+B to bypass it, and then to change the step size here and to increase it. And then what we can do is just run the workflow, and then it will start loading in all the models, and then you will see the final result. Okay, and once the workflow finished, you can see we then get this really nice result here with the 90-degree angle, and you can use this for basically any angle and just play around with the ComfyUI workflow overall. Okay, and once you generated then all your multi-views with each angle attached with the top view, the side view, and so on, as you can see here. But just by the way, as a quick note, when you would like to generate the bottom view, I can recommend to do it with Nano Banana Pro, because the actual Lora, or at least the camera handles that I just showed you in ComfyUI, you can't use there the bottom view, so you can't generate from a low angle. So I would just do that with Nano Banana. But apart from that, we have here a nice collection of images now for each view. And what we can then do back in Hunyuan3D is to go to multiple images, then choose here the add multiple views, and now we can start uploading our images. And I will always start with the front view, so I will just quickly select this one. Then I will go ahead and choose the side views over here for those ones that we have it, and then we can also upload the rest with all the remaining angles that we need. Okay, and once you uploaded all your images, as you can see, I left with intention this one here out because it didn't give me that great of a result when I added the bottom view. Maybe you have better results with it, so make sure to let me know down below if it worked for you better also with the bottom view. But this one gave me the best result so far, to use 7 views in total, and then we can just hit here generate immediately. By the way, for anyone wondering, the 3.1 version is only available online on their website because it's a closed source model. It's not open source, maybe at some point, but for now you can only use it on the Hunyuan3D website. Alright, and this is then our final multiview result, which I think looks really great. It captures all angles really good, and you can also see, for example, that it did here quite a job to capture it, and you can also see it here in a detailed turntable. We also compared the new update from Hunyuan, by the way, with the latest latest Hunyuan3D 2.0 model, so you can have a sense of what works better for you at the moment in time, because we think both generators are really good in terms of capturing details and so on, but you can decide for yourself which one you would like to use for now, and let me know down below which one you prefer. We tested this on characters, but as well as on hard surface assets like cars, for example. So I really hope you have enjoyed this video. As always, make sure to subscribe to the channel in case you haven't yet, and actually see you on the next one.